Hello everyone, how are you doing today? It's me, Makeda Valletta, again, coming back with another video. This video is going to be quick. I know I've been talking a lot today. I am live on my backup IG page, the_Renaissance_Amazon_1. I'm going to save this and repost it to my YouTube, okay? So make sure you follow me in both places. And I do a lot of things, but today I want to talk about credit. Some of you have been following me for a long time, and you know that I talk a lot about health and nutrition, and that's like my number one thing. Also, I'm into history and science and anthropology and social issues, yada yada yada. But over the last 7 months, I've been obsessed with credit. Okay, personal credit, business credit, just credit, and I have videos that I've done before talking about personal credit and leveraging credit cards to travel for free and leveraging personal credit to get business credit to build your business. And so I'm just going to keep sharing as I have updates. So quickly, last year this time I was not using credit cards. Last year this time I was not paying attention to my credit score. Last year this time I thought cash is king, and I'm just going to focus on making money. And if you have money, credit shouldn't matter, right? That's the mindset that I had. Part of that was because of school loan debt, that I felt like, you know what, all this $100,000 in debt, whatever, I'm not paying that. That's a whole other story. But then in October of last year, I started to really learn. And I've been my own business my entire life, so I've always been funding everything and out of my own pocket, and there's certain things that I haven't been able to do because I didn't have the funding to do it, right? I've been my own funder for my business, and that's really tough. And I have been my own business my entire adult life. So when I started to learn about business credit and, how, what you can do with that to get money for your business, and then I started to learn that in order to get access to that, your personal credit has to be good, and you have to build your personal credit first. And so I began on that path. Now, I'm in a totally different place, and I'm so thankful for the people that I learned from, and I have some amazing teachers. I talk about them in other videos. So anyhow, I have a video where I talk about, understanding your personal credit, so I'm not going to get super into that now. I have a whole video about that. I will post it below on my YouTube channel. If you're watching me on Instagram, I guess you can look through my Instagram videos or ask me and I'll send it to you. But I have a video called Understanding Personal Credit and Credit Polygamy, right? And so I explain a lot of things in that video. But, from the things that I've learned, I have, helped my mother. My mom, she's about to be 73 in a few days. And she was kind of like a lot of old school people, just, it stressed her out. And she's just she didn't really understand it. And so I learned all these things. I'm like, Mom, I'm going to help you. And I helped my mom, where she now has a good credit score, and it's not just about the score, it's also about your profile. There's things that matter. You can have a good score and have issues in your profile and still be denied for things, right? And so I just got my mom approved for American Express personal rose gold card, which comes to see the gold or rose gold. Most people choose rose gold. It's really the same thing. But it's a very valuable card to have because it's a lifestyle credit card. If you have the right credit cards, you can earn points that are currency that can be used to travel for free. Okay, if you're somebody who wants to travel, you get the most value out of these points. You get the most value out of these points if you use them for travel. They can be used for other things too, but the value can increase 7 times if you use it for travel, right? And the only cards that you can do that with are American Express being number 1 on top. Then you have Citibank and Chase and Capital One. Capital One being on the bottom in terms of value and points. Amex being on top. And Chase and Capital One being right there, slightly below American Express, but higher than Capital One in terms of the value of their points. And when you earn these points, there's certain, when you're building your personal profile, there are certain cards called lifestyle cards, which everybody should start with. And that is the American Express Gold or Rose Gold, the Citi Premier card, the Chase Preferred, and one of the Capital One cards. I don't know because I don't pay attention to Capital One that much. It might be Venture X, I'm not sure. And lifestyle credit cards are cards where you earn like a 3 to 5 points on things that you spend money on every day in your life. Things such as food, food and drink, gas, what else? Food and drink, gas, travel, and I think there's one other thing in that category, right? And so you understand how to maximize your points in the incoming and accumulate a lot of the points, and then you understand how to minimize them in the outgoing, so you can really increase the value of these points, right? And these points are a source of currency, right? And so I have other videos where I explain them in depth, so definitely take a look at that. I'm just giving you like a brief, thing. So the thing is that my mom wasn't really using credit cards either. She got like a basic Capital One credit card last year, I think. Then I put her as an authorized user on my Apple Card. And Apple Cards are not a super valuable card. It's something that I got to build my personal credit. Like before I got into Amex and Citibank, now I have business credit cards with Amex, so it's a totally different place. But when I first started building, I started with, I think it was a secured card from Bank of America. That's who I bank with. And then I got a card with Capital One. And I didn't know what I was doing at that moment. And then I found my mentors, right? And then I started learning about building the personal side. And again, I talk about that in my other videos. So I got an Apple card, because it's not a super valuable card, but it's good if you're trying to build, because you don't want to get shitty credit cards. So you don't want store cards. You do not want Macy's and like store cards. Those are not considered to be good on your profile. But if you already have them, don't get rid of them, because getting rid of them and closing them out can also destroy your profile, right? But if you don't have them, don't get them, all right? If you do have them and you don't have more valuable cards, understand you have to build that before you can like get into certain institutions or into the business side of things, which everybody should be in the business side of things, even if you don't have a business. And I talk about that in some other Instagram videos, because when you have business credit cards, it protects your personal credit, meaning when you're using credit cards can build your credit if you use them responsibly. But you don't want to hold balances on your credit cards. You want to use them like a debit card. Instead of using a debit card, you use your credit card to just pay for things that you would normally pay for, and then you pay it off at the end of the month or in increments during the month. But when you hold balances, now you're paying all this interest, so you don't want to do that. But sometimes people do have a huge expense and they need to hold a balance for a few months or something. For stuff like that, you want to put it on a 0% interest business credit card. Because when you hold balances on the personal side, it makes your credit score drop. So an example of this is that on the personal side, you want your utilization to be 10% or lower, under 10% ideally, right? And utilization means 10% of your available credit. So like, if let's say on your personal side, you have $5,000, okay, available amongst whatever credit cards you have. The total amount of money you have available in personal credit is $5,000. 10% of that is $500, right? So that means you would not want to hold, amongst all the total of all your cards, you would not want to carry a balance of over $500, from month to month, okay? If you have an available credit of $5,000 and you run it up to $4,000, okay, and it reports to the credit bureau as $4,000, that would make your credit score tank. And when I say report, because it's not that you can use $4,000 of your available credit, but by the time those cards report to the credit bureaus, because they report to the credit bureaus once a month, and I explained this again in my other video talking about understanding your personal credit, so I'm not going to explain all the details, but I do it in my other video. But if you use $4,000 of that $5,000 available credit, but you pay it off before they report to the credit bureaus, that's fine. But if you're holding it, past that, and the credit bureaus are reporting that you have used $4,000 of your available $5,000 and your utilization is up that high, that's going to make your credit score lose so many points. So for me, I have kept my utilization under 10%. But just last month, my utilization, okay, my credit score was 743. Last year, this time, I didn't have a credit score. In October, I didn't have a credit score because it was just, I wasn't using credit. And then it was in the 600s. Then I got it up to the 700s. So it was 743. My utilization went from 8% to 15%. So it just went up 7%. And just it going up 7%, I lost 50 points in my credit score. So my credit score went from 743 down to 693, right? And I'm like, oh my God. You know what I'm saying? Just from that, just 7%. So my utilization is 15% of my available credit. Now, imagine somebody who is at 50% utilization or 60% utilization. That will make your credit score tank. So people who are like in the 500s and stuff like your credit score will drop down to the 500s if your utilization is that high, right? So that's why, if you know, like sometimes people are in real estate and they're investing money using their personal credit cards, that will make your credit score tank. You want to do that on a business credit card, because then you can have these, hold these balances and it doesn't report to your personal credit. On the business side of things, holding balances does not damage you, okay? It's expected, and it doesn't report to your personal credit, okay? Except for there's a couple of Capital One cards, and I think maybe a Navy Federal that does report to your personal credit, but most business cards do not, all right? And you want to consult with somebody to make sure you get the right cards, because that's important. So my shit went up, dropped 50 points. So I'm like, okay, so now I'm going to make sure that this month, now, and there's some things that I want to do, because when you have good credit, you can use it to leverage certain things, right? Like there's two businesses. One of them that I'm working on is getting into the Turo business, which is, Turo's like Airbnb for cars. You can get cars in your business name and rent them out and just make money. The car is a business. And that is what I'm working on this summer. And when you have cars under your business name, it's an asset for your business. And if you have another business you want to start, then you can put those cars up against the bank and get more money for another business, okay? So it actually can help you in so many ways. It's not just a revenue source, but it can be leveraged against the bank to get more money, okay? So I'm like, okay, now I'm going to have to get this. My shit went to 8% to 15%. Now I'm going to have to get it down. I'm going to get it down to like 6 or 5%. Then so my credit score can go up again. This whole credit thing is like a video game. It's like a game. You have to understand how the rules work, and you understand it's like a game, right? So anyhow, now my mom, on the other hand, I helped. She had some, because if you have like, having late payments on your profile is not good. Thankfully, I didn't have that. I had, if you have too many inquiries, it's not good. I got a lot of inquiries and moved from my Experian account, because we have three different credit scores from Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, okay? And different institutions pull from different bureaus. And if you have too many inquiries, meaning you apply for stuff, like every time you apply for things, most of the time you'll get a hard inquiry on your credit report. And not only does it make you lose points, but it doesn't look good when you're applying. Depending on what you're applying for, like if you're applying for a credit card, you can't have too many inquiries. And too many inquiries could be 5 or more. You know what I'm saying? Depending on the institution. And it also depends on how recent it was. It's a bunch of things. So I've gotten like tons of inquiries and moved off my Experian. You don't want to remove inquiries that are connected to open accounts. But if you apply for something and you don't get it, you can get those inquiries off your credit report, right? And you want to. Getting inquiries off my TransUnion has been like impossible. So that's still a work in progress, and I'll update you if I ever get them off. But so sometimes you don't have, usually your credit scores are similar amongst all three bureaus, but sometimes certain things are reported to certain bureaus and not others. Like I had an issue with a gym in New York that, closed out my account, and they submitted to my TransUnion credit profile that I owed them money, and I was like going back and forth with them. And I got that removed off my TransUnion report, right? Very easily. But having that, if that had stayed on my report, that blocks you from doing so many things, especially like the more time goes by. If you have something like that on your report, the more time goes by, the more it doesn't matter, but it doesn't affect you. But to me, it's just good to get that off. And I've been working really hard to keep my credit good. So I got that off, that collections off my credit report very easily, but can't get the inquiries off. And usually inquiries are easier. So my mom, she had like a couple of late payments on a car payment from like a few years ago. And so we're disputing that and trying to get that off. But, and then there was like something like some type of school loan, because my mom went back to school in her 60s. And there was a loan or, something that was on her TransUnion as being like, I don't know if it was a late payment or something, right? And so I'm like, okay, but her Experian score had gone up to like 715 or something, right? Which is a good score. And you can definitely get into American Express with that score. But again, it's not just about the score, it's about your profile. So you can have a good score, but then if you have too many late payments or too many or other delinquencies, delinquent accounts, or you have too many inquiries, even though your score is good, you might still get denied. So I'm like, I want my mom, I'm gonna get her an Amex. So what we did, she had like 3 inquiries on her report on her Experian, because American Express usually pulls from Experian. They primarily pull from Experian, but sometimes they'll pull from TransUnion if it's out there. So because she had this delinquent loan issue on the TransUnion report, I froze that report, because you can freeze certain credit reports from certain bureaus. But if the institution primarily pulls from TransUnion, like with Bank of America, especially on their business side, they pull from TransUnion. So if the institution primarily pulls from that credit bureau and you freeze it, and they can't pull your credit, then you won't get approved, right? But I knew that American Express primarily pulled from Experian for sure. But sometimes they pull from other things if there's other things available. So I froze her TransUnion report so it couldn't be pulled, right? The Experian report was wide open. She only had 3 inquiries, which is not a lot, but I said, you know what? I want to make it optimize everything so there's no way to be denied, right? To increase the chances of being, and they may not have pulled her TransUnion, but I said, let's just freeze it just in case. So now we're focusing on Experian, which is who American Express pulls from. She had 3 inquiries. It's not a lot, but I got 2 of them off in like less than a day because they weren't connected to open accounts, and one of them she didn't even, do or whatever. So got those off. Okay, so now she only had 1 inquiry. And then she had 2 late payments in her car from like a couple years ago. She applied for the American Express. Actually, she got something in the mail. People tell you not to apply to things in the mail. And so I'm telling this story for the people. There may be people listening who are into this credit game. There's a lot of YouTubers talking about credit. And maybe one day I'll do a YouTube, thing just on credit, because I've learned a lot from not just my teachers, but listening to other people. And there's a lot of data points. Let me say that, right? So one of my mentors, he's always said, do not apply for credit cards from things that come in the mail, because when they tell you that you're pre-approved, that's not true. It's coming from an outside company. And you could apply for something thinking you're going to get it, and they deny you because of this. So never do that. And then he also said, when you apply for credit cards from stuff that comes in the mail, you get locked out of bonus offers, right? And so this is what I heard. But my mom, I was just in New York, and she shows me some mail she got from American Express. And I'm looking at it, and it was from American Express. It wasn't from a third-party company. And it was for the gold or the rose gold card. And it was offering her 90,000 points as a sign-up bonus. So sign-up bonus, these credit cards that give you points to travel for free, they come with sign-up bonuses. So it might be something like if you spend $4,000 in the first 3 months or the first 4 months or 6 months or whatever, you get X amount of points, 50,000, 60,000, 80,000. Like on my City Premier, it was 80,000 points if you spent, I think, 4,000 in 3 months, I think. So instead of me using my debit card, I just used my City Premier card, right? And I actually made that spend in a month, right? So, and I did, and each point is worth about 1 cent if you use it the way the credit card company wants you to use it. So 80,000 points could be worth $800, right? But if you know how to use it where you can transfer the points out to different travel partners, it could be worth up to 7 times that amount. Okay, so those 80,000 points, and it could be worth up to 7 times that amount in free travel. Okay, so that means that those 80,000 points could be worth up to $5,000 and $600. Okay, in free travel. We know how to transfer it properly. And that's actually what I got out of it, because I actually booked a trip to Paris and Senegal and back again with those points, right? That would have cost a few $1,000s if I would have paid for it out of pocket. So when I got the American Express Personal Gold or Rose Gold. I got that in April. That in the American Express Business Blue Plus. I applied for them at the same time, and I got approved. I have 3 businesses, so I got a Business Blue Plus for one business and personal Rose Gold, same thing, card with American Express. I applied at the same time. I got them both. Okay, even though I had been denied once or twice before. Okay, so I'm telling these stories because there's a lot to be learned on this credit journey and what to do. Okay. So when my mom shows me this mail and was offering 90,000 points, all right, as a sign-up bonus. And I've never seen anybody usually people get 60,000 points for an American Express personal goal. But I'm like, wow, 90,000 points. And I have a link, I have a referral link, for people to apply for it. But if she used my referral link, she would have got 60,000. And I would have gotten some points if she was approved. But I'm like, no, you don't need to use my link. Use this. Because if you get 90,000 points, that's amazing. That's worth up to $900 if you use it, if you don't know how to use it correctly, if you want to throw them away. But if you know how to use it correctly, it could be worth up to 3, 4, 5, 6 times that amount in free travel. And then my mother loves it. And that's good because that means like if she wanted to go to Europe, she could have, get a lay flat bed and fly to Europe. She's in her 70s. She could be comfortable, and lay down and go to sleep. And that ticket would have costed thousands of dollars, if she spent it out of pocket, right? So what I did, again, now going back, I went and froze her TransUnion report. I got the 2 inquiries off her Experian very easily in less than a day. And we applied. And I said, she had these 2 late payments from her car from a couple years ago. And I'm like, they might deny you because of that. But one of the things that gave me confidence, too, was that there was something that I don't know if it was an inquiry, something that was disputed, that we disputed on her credit profile on Experian. And when you dispute something on Experian, they send you an email after the dispute is settled. And on this email, they show you like a back end part of your credit report that you don't usually see. And what it is they show you the soft inquiries that you have, okay? So hard inquiries go onto your credit report, lenders see it, you can see it, and it affects your credit profile. Soft inquiries, like there are certain companies who just pull your credit periodically. Like that's why sometimes when you get offers in the mail, companies are always pulling your credit. Those are soft inquiries. You don't see that on your credit profile. You don't know it. It doesn't affect your credit profile. So when I was looking at that back end, I saw that American Express had, there were soft inquiries from American Express. So I'm like, oh, American Express has been pulling your credit. You know what I'm saying? So this mail did come from American Express. It has their address. It came from them. I can see where they were pulling your credit. So it made me think that she's likely to be approved because they pulled her profile and sent her that invitation. So she filled it out and she got approved. And 90,000 points is a sign-up bonus. Once you're in American Express, okay, once you just have one card with them and you're in the Amex family, after 30 days, you can get other cards with American Express and you have no hard pull on your credit report. And everybody should have a business credit card because like if you had a medical expense or something you needed to pay for, or something happened to your house and you have to spend a few $1,000s fixing it, you can use a 0% interest business credit card to put it on there, right? So that you can now pay it off over the next year, or however amount of time you need, a year or less, because after the year you start paying interest. And so it's something that everybody should have, even if they don't have a business. But if you have a business, you can get them for every business that you have, right? And so it's really good because, you don't want to put that stuff on your personal credit thing. So I would just, I'm like, this is good. You know what I'm saying? This is good. If I hadn't frozen her TransUnion report, I don't know if they would have approved her. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? So definitely, I actually love this. I really have learned so much about this whole credit game. It's so valuable. I've always been so focused on health, and health is always my number one because you can have all the money in the world and die young, you know what I'm saying? And you can't take it with you when you die. So number one for me is health. And number two is money, right? And so I used to hate credit and I used to think the U.S. was stupid for having this credit thing. But now that I understand it, I'm like, I love it. And it's one of the reasons why I wouldn't want to move to any other country. There's several reasons, but that's one of them. Because the American credit system, if you understand how to work it, can allow you to do things that you could never do other places. It can allow you to come from the bottom up, okay? And even do things without having to ask the bank for loans and stuff like that, So there's so much to it. Especially now for like medical expenses, they're starting to give people medical credit cards, and that's like on your personal side. So like if you get a credit card for $7,000, that's a medical credit card, and you put $7,000 in that card, that's going to tank your credit score. So you don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? You want to put stuff like that on a business, a 0% interest business credit card. Okay. I have more videos where I'm talking about the whole flying for free thing. There's so much I've learned about that. You can check those videos out. If you have questions about it and how I learned it, check my videos out, ask me questions, whatever. There's a course that I took by one of my mentors named Owen, and the class teaches you how to really maximize this stuff and travel the world, for free. And I know people who have these credit cards and they don't understand how to use it in the most efficient way, and they're throwing their points away. They're throwing it away. They might be cashing it out because you can cash the money out. You don't get you cashing out $900 when you could get $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 in free travel. I mean, if you don't travel anywhere ever, then maybe, but you can also use the points to book travel for other people. So it's a currency that's really dope. I wish I knew about it sooner, but I'm glad I know about it now. And I'm going to keep talking about it for those who are interested. Definitely check out my previous videos where I'm talking about credit and business credit and all that. And now I got to wait like another week till my thing reports again, so my credit score can go back up to the 740s, hopefully 730s. And that's the thing about credit. Like, your credit score is constantly changing. Another thing with credit, you want to look at the FICO 8, and you want to look at your credit score on Experian.com, myfico.com. Okay, not Credit Karma. Okay, because that is a Vantage score. You want to have a FICO 8 scoring model in order to monitor your credit on a regular basis, which I do. Like, I look at my credit score at one point it was like every day, and now it's kind of like that, but it's like every few days. I look at my credit scores often. You have to pay for that. Like, whatever they give you for free might be like, oh, you get one report once every 3 months or once a year or something like that. Nah, I look at it because it's constantly changing, depending on what's going on. And you might have something that gets put in your credit report that doesn't belong there, and you're like, what the hell? You didn't even know it was on there. So I'm constantly, so it's myfico.com, Experian.com. And then the other one, I can't remember, is My Identity IQ, I think. I actually subscribe and pay for all credit monitoring with all three of them because they show different things, they update at different times, and I'm just really into it. Okay, so hopefully this helps somebody. If you have issues with your credit, don't fret, understand you can correct it. And you should, because it can change your life on so many levels, especially if you understand how to leverage it properly. All right? So I'm going to go on about my day. I hope this helps somebody, and have a great day. Bye, people.